Colby
right.
Chaos Covington. Colby Covington's gonna work his way back up. He is our next undisputed champion. He could beat Rachmanov. He could beat Ian Gary. He could probably run it back and beat Leon Edwards. Colby Covington is one of the greatest fighters. That's why he is almost number one pound for pound. That's why he is on our pound for pound list. Colby Covington is one of the best. So who's Tom Aspinall?
What do you mean?
If there's no interim title or interim, then who is Tom
No,
Aspinall?
there's no interim title on this podcast.
Oh.
There's an interim title in real life, not on this podcast. Because this isn't real life. We are fake. We are figments of the imagination of our viewers. And we never existed in the first place. This whole podcast has been a scam.
Has it?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Wow.
Yeah.
What a big old Ponzi scam.
I know. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. I'm your host, Justin, and today I'm joined by Elijah, and we're coming off of UFC 310 from last week. It was stacked on paper. It didn't really live up to the hype, but it was a good show nevertheless. The prelims were great. The main card was great. And we're going to work our way up the list, and we're going to just give our review, our breakdown on UFC 310. What did you get to see, and what did you like about it?
I got to see a little bit of the Sterling fight.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see Rachmanov and Gary a little bit, brief moments.
Yeah,
and then I was able to watch
because you were at work. So
yeah, I was at work.
That's why this podcast is called the Hardcore and the Casual. Because I'm the hardcore who watched the whole thing, and you're the casual that gets to sit there and listen to me talk, right? That's how this thing works.
I give a great opinion.
Okay, we'll see how good your opinions are when we get later on in the show. But for now, Kennedy Njoku, I didn't get the chance to watch this fight. I was a little late on getting back, but I did see the knockout. Kennedy knocked him out in the first round, final seconds of the first round. I mean, this is one of the best weight class changes. He moved from light heavyweight, where he was split decisioning OSP in his last fight, and then he lost to OSP this year. Wow. And OSP's not even in the company anymore. So the move up to heavyweight has been good so far to him. He's gotten 2 TKOs. I mean, this is great for Kennedy. I saw the knockout. It was a great knockout. One of the best weight changes in the company right now. He's fast. He's quick. He still has his power.
Yeah.
We have another weight change to talk about later on in the show. Did you see Ilya Topuria saying that he was going to move up to lightweight? He said permanently too. He said he was going to vacate his title. Yeah, we could talk about that more a little bit before we start predicting Colby versus Joaquin. But for now, we'll keep it moving up the card. Chase Hooper submitted Clay Guida in the first round. I was watching this one, and I was very excited about it. Chase Hooper, he's on my list for one of my favorite fighters now. He has been showing that he is gaining confidence, gaining muscle. He's on a different level now than he was before. Yeah. I like Chase Hooper, man. He's great. Clay Guida, it's probably time to retire. I say this about every single guy every single week.
That's such an expected outcome, though.
Yeah, I know. They had already grappled before, and Chase submitted Clay in their grappling session 2 years ago. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Moving up, Michael Chiesa got the submission in round 3 over Max Griffin. Not much to write home about. It was 2 veterans going at it. Michael Chiesa was able to control him and use his takedowns and his clinching. Michael Chiesa, he's not ranked in the welterweight division. He's still a big name in the welterweight division.
Yeah.
He'll get back on top soon, maybe. Who knows? We'll move up from there. Joshua Van got the decision win over Cody Durden. He beat him up. Joshua Van, someone to look forward to in the division. He's now number 15.
Yeah.
Kai Asakura is now number 14. So those were a few of the flyweight division changes. Joshua Van has a loss to Johnson. What's his name? Charles Johnson.
Yeah.
Charles Johnson has 4 wins this year. One of the wins was knocking out Joshua Van. I mean, Joshua Van was winning that fight, though, in my opinion, so I don't think you knock him that much. Joshua Van's going to be on the up and up in the flyweight division. He looks really good. Boxing is crisp. I really like this guy. Look out for Joshua Van in the flyweight division. Next up, Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders didn't go anything like I thought it was going to go. So Chris Weidman rocked him in the first round, almost had him out of there, but then in the second round, Eric Anders was the one shooting for takedowns on Chris Weidman, got him to the ground, got control, and ground and pounded him on the ground for the TKO in the second round.
Expected.
Not expected. I didn't expect that at all. Chris Weidman is the wrestler. He's the guy with the grappling. Eric Anders is like a 17-8 guy. He's come on.
Eric Anders is just on more of an elite level.
No, he's not. Chris Weidman was the champ.
Yeah,
and his wrestling is elite. I don't know what happened in this fight. Eric Anders was able to just take him down and ragdoll him.
He's elite.
No, Eric Anders is anything but elite. But he did have a good performance against Chris Weidman, so you can't take that away from him. Oh, here we go. Brian Battle versus Randy Brown. Did you get to see this one?
I didn't get to see that one.
So this one was pretty boring. There was a lot of clinching going on by Brian Battle, but he did pick up the decision win. A lot of people didn't like the weight miss or the way he fought in the fight. He started off very slow in the first round. Randy Brown was picking him apart in the first round, body shots, was landing good combos, was able to stop the clinching a lot for Brian Battle in the first round. But then Brian took over, weighed on him, used his extra weight, even though he did not look like in that octagon he had a weight advantage.
Yeah.
Randy Brown looked 2 weight divisions above Brian Battle, even though Brian Battle was the one that missed weight. Don't know how that manages to make sense. But Brian Battle, he did what he had to do to win. I don't think it was a robbery. I think you give Brian Battle the second and the third rounds, even though there wasn't much activity. Those still were his rounds, so it wasn't an entertaining fight, but he did pick up the win over the gatekeeper of the division. Probably going to get a top 15 guy next. Maybe a high-level, not-ranked guy. Fakardimov has a win over him. Fakardimov hasn't made it into the thing yet, so maybe run that back. Brian Battle probably won't accept that fight, though. Now, moving up, Avloya versus Aljamain Sterling. You got to see a bit of it. Do you want to say anything about it?
Oh my gosh!
Don't be going out here and saying that it was a robbery, though. Please don't say it's a robbery. It's not.
I feel kind of bad for Aljo because I know he's gonna have to somewhat climb the ranks. I feel like it was a close fight, but I do think Avoyev did edge him out, and
it all came down to how you scored the third round.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it was a close fight, and I think I see people saying, "Oh, well, Aljo won or Avoyev won." We don't know how the judges scored it, but it was iffy. It was iffy.
The way I looked at it was Aljamain took the first round pretty handedly. Avloyev took the second round pretty handedly, and then the third round, Aljamain got his back for 3 minutes of the fight. Didn't do any offense. He didn't land punches. He landed one good slam, but guys, Avloyev is a wrestler. He takes slams like that in the gym on a daily basis.
Okay.
He gets put on the mat like that daily. So that slam doesn't actually mean like that's a damaging maneuver. It's just he got picked up and put on the ground. He got his hand down. He got his knee down. It didn't really look like it was that much of a damaging slam. Yeah. And then Aljo just hugged him for the next 3 minutes. Didn't land any punches. Didn't land any strikes. He just held him.
For a submission?
Not really. He was just trying to kind of hold him there. He was backpacking him like he always does. And then Avloyev managed to change the position. And yeah, they were rabbit punches. He wasn't landing very hard punches. He was just kind of like kept on tapping Aljo. Just bang, bang, bang. Like this power. Just not much power. Just hitting him. But that wins you the fight. If the other guy didn't do anything and you're just hitting him a little bit is better than nothing.
Right.
So I swung towards Avloyev because you can't just give Aljo the fight on control time. Because it's not about that.
Though.
It's not about that.
It's about dominance.
Yeah, and Avloyev showed that he was more dominant in those positions.
You can't believe that. No.
Yeah, I can because Aljo didn't do anything in those positions. Avloyev did do stuff in those positions. If I have you pinned down to the ground and I'm just holding you, and then you reverse it, pin me to the ground, and now you're punching me, who did more? The guy that just held you down or the guy that punched you?
But how long did he do it, though?
3 minutes versus 2 minutes. But the 2 minutes with punches is better than 3 minutes without punches.
And then the 2 minutes was from the second round.
No, I'm only talking about the third round.
Oh, this is from the third round.
This is from the third round.
So they both spent 5 minutes on the ground.
They basically spent 5 minutes on the ground. First 3 were from Aljo, and then the last 2 were from Evloev. But Aljo landed no punches in the 3 minutes. Evloev did land punches in the 2.
What's Evloev's record?
19-0.
Okay.
With a win over Aljamain Sterling, Arnold Allen, and Diego Lopez.
Okay, but that's good though, because even though Aljo put up a close fight, okay, we can't just cancel him out the picture because there's still people at 145 for him to be able to fight.
Yeah.
Volk's coming off 2 losses as well.
And now we have a vacant title possibly because Ilia Topuria might be moving up to lightweight permanently and vacating his title. So that leaves the division open a lot. I've been seeing rumors of Volk versus Diego Lopez for the vacated title in Australia. No, don't do that because Diego Lopez doesn't deserve a title fight.
He does.
No. Beating Brian Ortega gets you a title fight?
What? Brian Ortega?
Yeah.
He fought Ilia Topuria. He fought
And lost.
Yair. He fought Volk.
No, Diego Lopez does not deserve a title fight. He lost to Evloev. Do we not remember this? This happened last year. Evloev beat Diego Lopez last year.
That sets up Evloev for a rematch. That sets up...
But what I'm saying is Diego Lopez should be the one sitting on the side waiting for his rematch. Evloev doesn't need to take a rematch with Diego Lopez. Evloev beat him already.
No, I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, you have to understand it from a business sense. They would give that fight because... Okay, Volk has his people in Australia. Diego Lopez is a fun fighter. People like him. Give him the belt. Bring Evloev out. And then you can build that sort of storyline in. Because if you just kind of, all right, we're just going to throw Evloev and Volk doesn't really know. But Volk...
Because those are the top 2 guys.
It just
Diego is not one of the top guys. Evloev and Volk are the 2 top guys.
But in the UFC, it doesn't run like that. Like, it's all about the money. It's all about the storyline. Like,
but it's a sport. That's what I was trying to explain to you last week. This is a sport.
That's not.
It's
how
not
Dana runs
It's
it.
not WWE. It's a sport. The best fight the best. Evloev is the best featherweight in the world, in my opinion. I honestly think he beats Volk.
He probably does, but not after Diego Lopez gets to him first.
I don't think Diego Lopez probably gets knocked out by Volk. Honestly.
No.
You think
he finishes Volk?
How?
Huh?
How?
Submission.
No. Volk is not getting submitted. He hasn't gotten submitted. He's not.
He's going to get submitted.
Did you see the fight against Brian Ortega?
Bro, he literally is coming off of a 2-fight losing streak.
That doesn't mean you're worse at
2
submission
knockouts.
defense.
Diego Lopez is coming in, the younger fighter, the hotter fighter, younger. Listen, history tells us that the younger guy always wins. Volk is 36. He's nearing it. Diego Lopez is going to pick apart Volk. He's going to finish him. Then he'll fight Evloev.
It's not true. Evloev should get the title fight. Diego Lopez already lost to Evloev, and his wins aren't as impressive. He has a win over like Sadiq Youssef, Dan Ige, and then Brian Ortega. Like, those are top 15 guys, but Evloev has beaten better top 15 guys. Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling, Diego Lopez himself.
But I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is the way the UFC would do it is they're going to mix things around to build a storyline for Evloev, because right now Evloev's kind of dry in terms of fans and charisma. Yes, he's undefeated.
It's a sport.
But
it's not WWE. They shouldn't do it like it's WWE. That's my point. This is not WWE. You don't just put the guys that they want to see fight each other. You put the best 2 guys in the world in the cage and see who wins. That's how this sport works.
If they're entertaining.
If entertainment value was all that was necessary, Aljamain Sterling would have never been champion. Okay? He wouldn't have been fighting. I get it. That's how it's working right now. It shouldn't work like that, though. It should be the best fight the best, no matter how entertaining or not entertaining they are. Best fight's the best. That's how it works. But, alright, I think we've been talking about a prelim fight for a little bit too long now. Even though that fight should have definitely been on the main card.
Yeah.
Like, it was good enough. That fight was probably fight of the night. Like, I watched all the fights other than the first one. That was fight of the night. guaranteed. Didn't get fight of the night. There wasn't a fight of the night handed out. It didn't. They gave no fight of the night bonus this week. They should have gotten it. That was fight of the night. But moving up, Vicente Luque, not much to talk about. He submitted Garimbo in under a minute. He got him with the Darce in under a minute. Like I said, nothing really to talk about. Vicente Luque proven that he's still one of the best in the world. Garimbo proven that he still needs a little bit of work. Does Garimbo ever make it back to the top 15 or a top 15 fight? I think so. I think eventually.
Yeah.
But he needs a little bit more work. Vicente Luque proved that he's still capable of getting those wins. He's still capable of getting those submissions. He's still high level. Good job, Vicente Luque. Now, probably my favorite fight of the night, Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. This was a one-sided beatdown for as long as it lasted. Dominic Reyes knocked him out, TKO'd him in the second round with only a couple seconds left to go in the round. If that round went 14 more seconds, I think that would have been the first ever 10-7 round.
10-7?
Yes. If that went for 14 more seconds, might have been the first ever 10-7 round. Dominic Reyes landed almost like 70 unanswered shots on Anthony Smith in that round. Anthony Smith landed a total of 0 strikes in the second round. Dominic Reyes landed like 72 on the ground. Dominic Reyes beat the shit out of Anthony Smith. And respect to Anthony Smith, he's going through a lot right now. He lost his head coach who had been with him through 50-something fights, 57 fights. They were together. He passed away. Anthony Smith took it hard. He kind of sort of retired afterwards. All the respect in the world for Anthony Smith and what he's going through. That still doesn't take away from the fact that inside of that cage, Dominic Reyes beat the shit out of him. So, Dominic Reyes might be making another title run soon, dude. How do you feel about that? And Anthony Smith retired now, so.
If Dominic Reyes makes another title run, have Ankalaev sit down, put him versus Alex Pereira, and then get him versus John Jones.
Moving on. All right. I've heard enough of you. All right. Main card, Nate Landwehr versus Do-Ho Choi. Do-Ho Choi. I still don't know how you pronounce this name. I watched the card, and I still don't know how to pronounce the name. He beat the shit out of Nate Landwehr. Beat the crap out of him. Didn't let Nate have any form of offense throughout the fight. Nate did look like he could have started something. He just never got going. Choi whooped him from pillar to post. He looked really good in there. He looked back to old form. I remember watching videos on Choi before he took his 3-fight losing streak. He looked like a killer back then. He looks like a killer now. And he called out Bryce Mitchell, who we'll talk about in a second. But he posted a photo. So Bryce Mitchell is a flat earther. Did you know that?
Really?
He thinks,
yeah.
Bryce thinks the earth is flat. Choi posted a picture on Instagram of the round earth and just in the comments just put April ? May ? And also in his post-fight interview, he also called out Bryce Mitchell. So it looks like the next fight is Choi versus Mitchell set up in the featherweight division down the line. I think that's a good fight. They both had impressive wins, impressive TKOs. Well, Bryce Mitchell's was a straight-on knockout. We'll talk about that one now. Did you get to watch any of the Bryce Mitchell-Kron Gracie fight or see any highlights or clips?
Oh, my gosh. Kron Gracie's so trash.
Dude, he tried to pull guard 3 times. On the third time, Bryce Mitchell stuck his forearm right in Gracie's face, slammed him on the ground, and then 1-2 elbows knocked him unconscious. It was nasty. It was one of the best slam knockouts I've ever seen. The elbows on the ground were brutal. I don't know, man. Kron Gracie should not be allowed to fight in the UFC anymore. Oh, and I saw Sugar Sean O'Malley post, or he went on Twitter and he posted something and he said Aljamain Sterling versus Kron Gracie at the LFA 300 show. And LFA is it's like the nothing leagues. It's like the below the UFC, like you're making your way up. Like that's where debut guys fight.
Yeah.
Like guys that are 0-0, they debut to fight on that card. So he said Kron Gracie versus Aljamain Sterling on that would be great. I thought that was funny. But Bryce Mitchell, big TKO, big win, was able to stop all the submission attempts, got stuck in a nasty armbar at one point, was able to get out. He looks back to old form. Bryce Mitchell looked really good the other day. I mean, the fight with Choi is probably next. Then give Bryce Mitchell a high-level opponent in the featherweight division. Because he lost to Ilya, and he lost to Emmett. Those aren't bad losses. Like, to get slept by Josh Emmett, well, duh, that's Josh Emmett. And then to get slept by Ilya Taporia, well, duh, he's the world champ. So, people need to give Bryce Mitchell a little bit more credit for how good he is. I really do think he is high level. He dropped Edson Barboza. He took down Ilya Taporia. This guy's good.
Yeah.
He's going to make his way back up. All right. Possibly my nomination for Robbery of the Year. Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. Cyril Gane won the decision. Even Dana White, after the fight, went up to Volkov and said, you got screwed. Because Volkov won that fight. Volkov won the third round. He won the second round. You could even give him the first round, but I think Gane won the first round. I don't know what the judges were seeing from Cyril Gane. He didn't win that fight. I don't know what I can explain to them to try and convince them, but after the fight was over, I went, oh, Volkov has this. It's so easy. And then they gave the decision to Cyril Gane. And with a broken foot. Cyril Gane had a broken foot too.
That's what they're saying. That if not had a broken foot, he would have whooped.
Yeah, but he broke it in the fight. So that's, if you break it before and then you come in, I can understand that. If you break your foot in the fight, well then that's a part of the fight. That's an aspect of you losing. Like, you broke your foot in the first round. Of course you're going to lose. So, but he won somehow. It's not, neither of these guys should be fighting for a title. I don't think this gives Cyril Gane an interim title fight against Tom Aspinall. It doesn't make any sense for it to happen. I don't know who you put in there with Tom Aspinall at this point. It should be Tom versus John Jones. There's no other fight to make at the highest level of the division. We just saw the robbery by Volkov and Gane, and neither of them were that impressive, honestly. Volkov, I thought, won the fight. He also didn't look too impressive, in my opinion. But, oh well. Do you think that Cyril Gane should fight Tom Aspinall for the title next?
Yeah. Because, look, if he beats Cyril Gane, it proves his case on why he should fight John Jones. It just even boosts it even more. Like, okay, you whooped him, I whooped him. But if it's a close fight, or if Cyril Gane does something and he gets the title back, then that just leaves. That kind of sets John. All right, so it helps Tom Aspinall out because it gets him a fight out the way. Helps Cyril Gane out because it puts him back in the conversation. But the bad thing about it is it's a 50-50 risk for Tom Aspinall if he doesn't win. Because if he doesn't win, that just John Jones is going to wait for Pereira.
So I disagree that. So okay, so Cyril Gane is a good opponent for Tom Aspinall. I mean, he just won, and we've already seen Tom Aspinall mess up Volkov, mess him up, didn't even make him look like he deserved to be in there with him.
Yeah.
So Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall would be a fun fight. My only problem is that either way it goes, if Tom Aspinall wins, let's say Tom Aspinall wins, if it's a close fight, then John Jones is just going to say, oh, well, he doesn't even deserve to be in there with me. I just whooped Cyril Gane, and you just went to a decision with him, so you don't deserve to be in there with me. I'm much better than you. I don't have to prove anything. If Tom Aspinall knocks Cyril Gane out in a minute, John Jones is also going to say, no, I'm not going to fight this guy. He's too dangerous. He's too scary. He's too young. I'm a veteran. There's no need for me to be fighting him. I've already proven everything I need to. He's too much of a dangerous fight to take for the amount of money I'm making. So either way the fight goes, if Tom Aspinall wins against Cyril Gane, whether it's close or whether it's not, John Jones is going to find an excuse not to fight him. So, because Tom Aspinall is dangerous, and John Jones is scared of him at the end of the day. That's just a fact.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I think that John Jones is genuinely afraid of fighting Tom Aspinall.
I don't think he's Mm, I don't think he's necessarily afraid. I just think he doesn't want it to be Tom. He doesn't want it to be Tom to take his legacy away. He'd rather it be like Pereira or something. Like he just doesn't want it to. I think he has something personal against Tom, and how Tom is just like might be able to just supersede Jones in every way just off that fight. So I think he's salty about that.
No, it makes no sense though, because everyone gave John the opportunity back then. Why doesn't John return the favor? Like Rumble Johnson, Lyoto Machida, not Rumble Johnson. I meant Rampage Jackson. Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Shogun Hua. They all gave John Jones the rub. Like they all fought him. That he beat them and gave him the rub. So why doesn't he return the favor for Tom Aspinall, who's clearly the next guy up?
Even if he fights Tom Aspinall, even like when I think of John Jones, I think about Khabib's coach, his father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, and I remember him saying something about John Jones and how he has, like a very good gift, like a great talent, that supersedes all. And, when I see John Jones, I see the things he does in fights, and he shows up every time. I don't see him. I know he can lose to Tom Aspinall. I just don't seeing it happen as easy as we think it is.
I think if it does happen, it would be as easy as we think it is. If Tom Aspinall was to win, I feel like it would be like first round knockout. Just bing, bang, boom, out of the way.
But that's the thing. If he doesn't, listen, the longer the fight goes, the better John Jones gets reads on Tom Aspinall, and he's able to beat him. Listen, Tom Aspinall will have to, same way he did with Sergey Pavlovich.
And I think he would.
Cyril Blade. Boom, 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 rush, rush, rush. If he doesn't,
I think that he does, though. But that's just my opinion. But we still got two more fights to talk about, the co-main event and the main event, and then we're going to move over to Colby Covington predictions. Co-main event, Rakhmonov versus Gary. Didn't go as I expected it to go. It was a decision. So Rakhmonov's finish streak is over. And Ian Gary is now 15-1. The fight went the way it went. I mean, 48-47 for Rakhmonov, 3 rounds to 2. And I agree with that. Ian Gary clearly won the 3rd and the 5th round. My only problem is these two have sparred together, so they know each other. So I think that Rakhmonov probably could have finished Ian Gary if Ian Gary didn't already know all of Rakhmonov's tricks.
yeah.
Like, he already knew all of his tricks. He knew what he was going to try. He knew what positions Rakhmonov was good at. So he was able to kind of, like, stop Rakhmonov from doing any offense.
Yeah.
I think Gary had the biggest moments in the fight. In the entire fight, Gary probably had the biggest moments, especially in that 5th round. He almost submitted him. But Rakhmonov moving on to go fight Bilal now. Ian Gary, I think, would be a good fight. Leon Edwards in London.
Yeah, both coming off a loss.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fight. But Rakhmonov versus Bilal, clearly next. I have a lot less confidence in Rakhmonov now to beat Bilal. I think that Bilal could probably take him down and control him. But you never know. Rakhmonov is still a finisher. Even though he didn't finish Ian Gary, he is still a finisher. Which means he still could go out there and get a sub on Bilal while he's shooting, pull a ghillie, something. I don't know what it would be, but he still has a shot to win it. But I am less confident now.
Yeah.
It wasn't very impressive. He kind of just held Gary up against the cage for a couple of rounds, landed some good strikes, won the round. He kind of pulled a Bilal. He kind of just used his control time and then a couple of good strikes well placed at the last seconds of the round to win each round. So I think it's going to be a good fight against Bilal, but I do feel like Bilal. I'm probably going to pick Bilal if we predict it. Honestly, I might. We'll see when it gets there. Maybe recency bias. Maybe I'll look at it again and be like, "Nah, Rakhmonov's got this." But we'll see when we get to that point. Do you have anything else to say about this? Yeah, I don't know. It it was kind of a lackluster fight. Congrats on Ian for proving the doubters wrong, really. Ian proved more than Rachmanov did in this fight, even in a loss.
Yeah.
So, good on Ian Gary. Next up, main event of the evening, Kai Asakura versus Alexandre Pantoja. It was what it was, man. I mean, the first round, Kai Asakura was kind of landing some good strikes on Pantoja. Pantoja was landing some good strikes back. It looked like the entire fight was on 2x speed. But Pantoja pulled out the win, man. The second round submission. Yeah. Who's going to stop this man?
Yeah.
Davison Figueiredo's got to cut back down to flyweight just to pull this man out off of his high horse. I don't know. There's no comparison to Pantoja right now in the flyweight division.
None.
He's beaten everyone in the top 15. There's no one left. He called out Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson said he's not coming out of retirement. So now what? I don't know. Do you move him up to bantamweight and have him fight Merab after the Umar fight?
I mean, that's the only option. I mean, he's then wiped out the division and the newcomer.
I don't think this does put Pantoja in a spot where he is the GOAT of flyweight. Demetrius Johnson is still clearly the GOAT of flyweight. I don't even think this puts people have been saying that Pantoja is like top 5 pound for pound now. I don't see it. I still think he's above. I think he's above Bilal, but I still think he's below DDP and below Merab, because Merab has 4 championship wins, wins over champions. He only has 1 championship win, but he has 4 wins over champions. And then DDP has 3 wins over champions, and 2 of them were finishes. One of them was the second best guy ever in the division. And the other one was the 3rd best guy ever in the division.
Who?
Izzy and Robert Whittaker. Like, he finished the number 2 and number 3 best ever in the division. Out of their primes, but still, he got it done.
Yeah.
I don't think you can put Pantoja above them for having a win over Kai Asakura on his debut. Like, it's his debut.
I mean, he showed just championship levels.
I agree with that, and I think he is top 6, 7 pound for pound. I don't put him above Merab and DDP, though. Very impressive, though. Very impressed by Pantoja. He looked great out there, honestly. His next fight is way up in the air now. Who knows who he's going to fight next? Give Steve Erceg another shot. Nah, it's Kai Kara France. Kai Kara France has done enough to earn his shot at this point. Give Kai Kara France a shot.
Kai Kara France?
You don't do it. I don't know what you do with Pantoja at that point now.
Let him sit with the belt, like John Jones would.
Yeah. Have him wait for a new top contender, honestly. Kai Asakura is now number 14 in the rankings. I think that Kai versus Steve Erceg would be a good fight, honestly. I think that would get me excited about a flyweight fight. Kai Asakura versus Steve Erceg. But yeah, there's not really much to talk about Pantoja, man. He's proved that he is one of the best in the world right now, is the best flyweight in the world right now, and is second place on the GOAT list. Nah, dude, I still got Figueiredo on second place on my flyweight GOAT list. He has a win over Pantoja. Come on, man. I think Figueiredo has done enough to be number 2, but Pantoja's on his way.
Pantoja is number 1 pound for pound, in my opinion.
Shut the hell up.
Number 1 pound for pound.
You can't just say every person that
whole division.
You can't just say every person that wins a main event is now number 1 pound
fight,
for pound.
He was number 1 pound for pound.
Whatever. All right, but yeah, do you have anything else to say about this 310 card?
No.
Well, if you guys want to go back and watch our live reactions, Elijah wasn't there for our live reactions, but I did have a couple of people here watching the fights. Go back and watch that. But now we are going to move in to Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley predictions. There's not many high-level fights on this card. I think we could do the last 5. You want to do the last 5?
Yeah.
All right. So first off, you want to just do 1, 2, 3, and then we'll say it? Okay, first up, Adrian Yanez versus Daniel Marcos. Daniel Marcos is 16-0. Adrian Yanez is 17-5. Yanez is one of my guys. 3, 2, 1. Daniel Marcos. Yeah, Adrian Yanez is one of my guys, but I got to go with Daniel Marcos. He's been looking on fire lately. All right, next up, Vitor Petrino, 11-1, his one loss being the submission to Anthony Smith in his last fight. versus Dustin Jacoby coming off of a loss to Dominic Reyes. So they basically just matched up. They matched up Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Smith, and then the last two guys they beat, they matched those two up against each other too. But, all right, so Vitor Petrino, Dustin Jacoby. 3, 2, 1. Vitor Petrino. Okay, so we're still even
You
here.
know what? Dustin Jacoby.
You want Dustin Jacoby?
I want Dustin Jacoby.
All right, you switch to Dustin Jacoby. I got Vitor Petrino. Next up, we've got Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva's on like a 4-fight win streak in the division. He's taken some tough losses early on, but he has been in rare form recently. Manel Kape, in and out of wins throughout his career. He's one of the high-level guys, but he's not exactly shown that he can consistently do that at the top. Manel Kape, Bruno Silva. 3, 2, 1. Bruno
Kape.
Silva. All right, you got Manel Kape. I got Bruno Silva. Next up, Cub Swanson versus Billy Q, Billy Quarantino. We'll just call him Billy Q if you want to pick him. So Cub Swanson, Billy Q. 3, 2, 1.
Cub
Billy
Swanson.
Q. All right, we got 3 splits now. This is going to come down to this belt. All right, and the main event, man, Colby Covington, Joaquin Buckley. All right. This is one of the more complicated ones. All right, I think I know who I'm going with. 3, 2, 1.
Colby Covington.
Buckley.
Colby
right.
Chaos Covington. Colby Covington's going to work his way back up. He is our next undisputed champion. He could beat Rachmanov. He could beat Ian Gary. He could probably run it back and beat Leon Edwards. Colby Covington is one of the greatest fighters. That's why he is almost number 1 pound for pound. That's why he is on our pound for pound list. Colby Covington is one of the best.
Thank you for giving me a clip that I can put at the start of the show. Yes. I appreciate it. None of that's ever going to happen, though. Colby Covington's a washed-up fighter. I still like him. He's still entertaining. But he's washed up. And Joaquin Buckley, I think, is going to knock him out. Probably second round. I think Joaquin Buckley is genuinely going to knock out Colby Covington.
Wow. That's crazy.
How do you think Colby gets it done? Decision?
Submission.
Bruh, Colby Covington's had like 2 submissions in his career. Come on.
Colby Covington, when he comes, he doesn't play.
All right.
Always on weight, fights around his natural weight class. He's not like these other weight bullies.
Yeah, well, like Joaquin Buckley is. Joaquin Buckley's a big boy, dude. He came down from 185. He's a big boy. I don't know if Colby can hold Joaquin Buckley down. That's all I'm saying.
Colby's still in his prime, dog.
I don't think that's true. I think he's like 4 years out of his prime, in fact. You disagree?
Yeah.
You can disagree all you want.
2-time champion.
We will be reviewing this next week on the podcast. We will also probably be doing our awards show because this is the last card of the year. We might do something else next week. We'll review that, do something else, because we will have a couple of weeks between UFC events. The next one's not until like January 11th or something like that. So we do have a while to wait until the next card. So maybe we'll give it an extra week to set out all of our awards and like go through the list and figure out what we want to do for that. So maybe not next week. We'll probably do that the week afterwards since we'll have time. Next week, come back, Colby Covington, Joaquin Buckley review. Once again, if you haven't checked out our 310 reactions, please do that. Do you have anything else you want to say before we sign off, Elijah?
Colby Covington's coming back for his belt.
Yeah, we'll see about that. All right. Thank you guys for watching the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. Thank you, Elijah, for coming as always. It's a pleasure to have you. I have been your host, Justin. This has been the Hardcore and the Casual podcast, and peace out.